you are back with comedian David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. And finally, Melbourne, you've woken up. They've woken up the bear. It fucking took long enough, but now the tradies are out there fucking tearing up the streets. It's beautiful to see. God bless the tradies. I know that's the opposite to everything I've been saying about tradies for the last 2.5 years, but God bless them. Melbourne's criminal element has awoken, and it's going to be hard to put the bear back to sleep. I don't even really know what's happened. I'm just getting information from friends that were there who were at the protests/riots and a few news clips. But apparently a couple of days ago, they shut the construction industry down in Melbourne and said if you're not vaccinated, you're not allowed to work anymore. So in Melbourne, pretty much the strongest union there is, maybe in Australia, is the CFMEU, which is I don't really know what it is, construction, fire, mining, and energy union. And they're a bunch of fucking criminals themselves, the head of the unions. Their muscle is all bikies and shit like that. Anyway, they must have passed the mandate where everyone has to get vaccinated. And the fucking tradies, the bears, were not fucking happy about that. So they went down to the CFMEU headquarters and they're like, excuse me, I've been watching some shit on YouTube and I don't like where this is headed. And they fucking trashed the joint. The headquarters of the CFMEU. And I'm talking about the CFMEU are a powerful fucking organization. They anoint politicians. They fucking control like legislation and shit like that. They're a powerful fucking lobby group too. And their members just fucking turned on them. Thank God. Thank God for fucking tradies. The criminals are out there. They've had a couple of beers. They've had a little bit of shard. And now they're hitting the streets. And these cunts are not scared of anything. These cunts get into fights with police on weekdays. Now they have a cause to get behind. I'm not exactly sure what their cause is either. I'm just happy they're fucking out there doing something. I've been waiting and fucking waiting for Melbourne to react, because it really doesn't matter whether they're right or wrong. What is going on in Melbourne looks identical to tyranny. I'm not saying it is or not, but it looks identical to tyranny. So even if they're wrong, they're still doing the right thing, because it's very hard to differentiate between something that looks exactly like tyranny and tyranny. So your best course of action is to fight against it. Even if they're completely fucking wrong, your best course of action is to fight against something that looks identical to tyranny. You understand? And it had to be the fucking tradies, the high-vis boys, the criminals. This is different to any other protests that happened so far, because the other protesters, they've got no idea. These guys are legit. Like I said, these guys fight with the police midweek after smashing a few pints after work. These guys aren't afraid of a couple of rubber bullets. These guys aren't afraid to take a beating from a police. They've all probably had a beating from the police before. They'll take a beating from the police. They won't complain. They'll go down to the pub the next day and brag about it to their friends. Finally, the murky fucking underground of Victoria has awoken. It's good to see there's still some fucking life in the joint. I read someone saying it's such a shame seeing the peaceful, coffee-loving city of Melbourne come to this. Shut the fuck up, cunt. Melbourne has only been full of fucking pussies for about a decade. A bit longer, maybe 15 years. Maybe 20. But before that, Melbourne was a city of thugs. You had the painters and dockers for years. There was gangs. Bikies were fucking everywhere. Everyone knew how to fight. Every area was rough. Richmond was rough. Carlton was rough. Footscray was rough. Fucking St Kilda was a junkie drug town. Everywhere was rough. Even when I was growing up, I probably caught the back end of it, but people were just fighting all the time. And then what happened? Someone opened a cafe with an exposed brick wall, and Melbourne became the most livable city in the world for 10 years in a row. Even in the early to mid 2000s, there was gangland warfare in Melbourne. People were getting shot dead every couple of weeks. I'm not saying this is a good thing, but I'm saying Melbourne always had backbone. Victoria always had backbone. And it's kind of embarrassing what it became. I suppose it's a very lightweight equivalent to like what happened to Brooklyn and New York. Like Mike Tyson's from Brooklyn, and now the juvenile detention center he spent like 5 years in is probably a fucking brewery. So it's just good to see that underbelly just out and about there in their high vis, in their fluorescent orange and steel cap boots, just giving it a good old-fashioned crack. Oh, it's good to fucking see. I don't condone violence or damage to property either. But if you have to do it, you have to do it. It's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out now, because that is not the segment of society that you wanted to embolden. That's for fucking sure. That section of society has been placated with money for the last 20, 30 years. But if they're not earning, they're criminals. I'm telling you right now, 100% of them are criminals. You want them employed. You want to keep the shard smoking, jiu-jitsu doing, steel cap wearing, Muay Thai kickboxing training, tradies as busy as possible. So now I think it's going to be really hard to put the bear back to sleep. Now that they're emboldened, even if COVID goes away, it disappears, they're going to find some other causes. It's going to be very fucking interesting to watch. But anyway, God bless fucking tradies. And that will do for tonight. I did a podcast with the great Andrew Roberts, the Melton Martyr, Bogan Jesus. I did a podcast with him yesterday. So that will be going up on the Patreon either tomorrow or the next day. So if you're interested in hearing from the great man again, join the Patreon. The links to the Patreon are in my social media bios, which is Boyle Comedy on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Or if you want to join the Patreon and you can't find the fucking links, just message me directly and I'll send it to you with a little love heart. Anyway, that's it for tonight. See you the fuck later.